Reminder, we will be taking questions by the email address askmetncyber@gmail.com. You can see that address on the screens to the side of the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Lieutenant General Susan Lawrence, U.S. Army retired, President and Chief Executive Officer, AFCEA International. And ladies and gentlemen, we would like to invite AFCEA Cyber Committee Co-Chair John Gilligan to join General Lawrence on the stage. We are now going to present the AFCEA Cyber Committee Awards. The AFCEA Cyber Award recognizes individual and teams from industry, academia, and government who demonstrate exceptional initiative, innovation, leadership, insight, and cyber excellence within their area of expertise. This year, the committee selected 3 individuals and 1 team for recognition. Our first awardee, the 2025 Cyber Workforce Champion is Peter Jirasek, AFCEA's Regional Vice President for Central Eastern Europe. Peter founded the Czech National Cybersecurity Competition, which has grown to include European and global editions with more than 50,000 student participants to date. He has also been a key leader of the EU's European Cybersecurity Challenge and is well known as a mentor to future cybersecurity professionals. Peter is unable to join us today and will receive his award at a later date. Please join me in a round of applause for Peter. The Cyber Technology Innovator Team Award goes to the Cyber National Mission Force's AI Pathfinder program. Established in 2025 as an extension of U.S. Cyber Command's AI Task Force, the AI Pathfinder program bridges the gap between AI theory and practice by pairing innovative AI technology with cyberspace domain expertise to enhance cyber defense operations. This team of cyberspace operators and capability developers advance Cybercom's defensive capabilities through the application of artificial intelligence and machine learning. The team demonstrated a model approach for AI integration, showcasing enhanced analytical capabilities and improved operational efficiency. Their work has established best practices for applying AI to defensive cyberspace operations. In addition to Command Representative Nicholas Hull, 4 members of the team are here today to accept the award: Captain Jack Graham, Captain Madeline Schneider, First Lieutenant Jack Moody, and CWO2 Terry Smith. Award is the Cyber Technology Innovator Individual Award. As an Army Cyber Warfare Officer, Lieutenant Colonel Danny Zhu leads the charge in rapidly integrating innovative artificial intelligence capabilities in support of U.S. Cyber Command's AI Task Force. His work has enhanced Cyber Command's capability to defend DoD networks and protect critical infrastructure. Through his leadership of rapid capability development teams, Danny has overseen the successful implementation of AI tools that improve threat detection, data analysis, and reporting efficiency. His technical expertise and vision continue to guide his team as they develop mission-aligned AI capabilities to address evolving cyber threats. Danny's impact extends beyond direct mission support. He has fostered a culture of innovation within the command and established a collaborative environment that brings together diverse talents to advance our nation's cyber defenses. Please, a round of applause for Lieutenant Colonel Zhu. today is the Cyber Icon, which recognizes an individual who has rendered conspicuous long-term service and significant sustained contributions to the cyber mission. The 2025 recipient is Arthur A.G. Hatcher, Jr. A.G. has demonstrated extraordinary leadership over his 40-plus year career as an Air Force officer, DoD senior executive, and industry consultant. Among his many accomplishments, he commanded a communications, computer, and cyber group that was selected for the Air Force Outstanding Unit Award. He headed a communications and cyber squadron that was selected for the Commanders-in-Chief Installation Excellence Award during both years of his command, and he co-led the Department of Air Force cyber efforts to transition 850,000 workers to telework status during the COVID-19 pandemic. He has also given decades of dedicated support as a life member of AFCEA, distributing more than $250,000 in scholarships and grants as a chapter officer. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 2025 Cyber Icon, A.G. Hatcher, to the stage. Lawrence presentation, please welcome General Lawrence to the podium.
All right. Okay, one more applause for these great winners. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. We had many entrants and they all deserved it, but these are the best of the best, so congratulations. Thank you, we're in good hands as we go through this. Now it is my pleasure to introduce this afternoon's keynote speaker, Ms. Katie Arrington, performing the duties of the Department of Defense Chief Information Officer. Ms. Arrington serves as the primary advisor to the Secretary of Defense for information management, information assurance, as well as non-intelligence space systems, critical satellite communications, navigation and timing programs, spectrum, telecommunications, and anything else he asks of her. Ms. Arrington is a leading expert on policy and technology with extensive experience building relationships with coalitions across the public, private, and nonprofit sectors. She's had an extensive career across government, as well as a senior cyber executive in private industry and a legislator in South Carolina House of Representatives. Ma'am, we are so excited you were able to make it here. Thank you very much. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Arrington.
Let's roll. Let's roll. All right. Can you hear me? Can you feel me? All right. I want the back of the room to start the wave and go all the way back, all the way back. All you guys in the back that you pretend like it. 3 people did it. You guys suck already. Okay, so listen, we're going to do a few things first. First, I don't know how many of you knew Bob Metzler, but I would just like to say a quick prayer for Bob in heaven. There are very few people in this world that make that kind of impact for nothing more than wanting to do the right thing. So dear God, I know you got Bob up there. Just, as you and he and Moses argue the 10 Commandments, y'all have a good time. Because you know Bob Metzler's arguing those. So I am here today to talk to you about all the cool things that we're doing. And I'm going to throw the photographers and everybody off because everybody that knows me knows I'm a walker and a talker. So what big things is the CIO up to? Anybody hear about that thing called the CMMC? Ring a bell? Yeah, it's happening, so knock it off. All right? If industry doesn't understand it's happening, I don't know what more of a statement the president could have made than putting me in the position he put me into. That was not by mistake. CMMC started in Trump 1. It will finish and start and be implemented in Trump 2. The end. Story's over. Let's move on. What's the next thing that I said in the office I'd do? SWIFT. We have got to get software faster into the Department of Defense. The valley of death is killing industry. So what did we do? We put the SWIFT memo out, And within, I think, 4 business days, the RFIs hit the ground. That program will be implemented starting June 1, 2025, so that we in the government can get to software faster. Now, it's going to be on you, on industry, to do a little bit of work and get a third-party SBOM, to get a third-party provider for show me your risk, populate EMAS with why can't I think of the word? The artifacts, and we will give you a provisional ATO. In the meantime, I'm not done. Hi, Rob. I'm not done yet. We're going to blow up the RMF. Who's with me on that one? Anyone want to give me applause on that? Thank you. And you remember how we did the CMMC? Hi, George. Do you remember how we did the CMMC? I brought industry into the discussion, and industry will be in this discussion. We already started with the CIOs and the CISOs in the building. I'm going through the J6, the 6 community. I'm going through A&S. We're going to get our little stuff together, and over the summer, you people are going to tell us what works and what doesn't work. Because people like you are the reason I'm doing the job I'm doing. Because I know everybody in this room cares. Because these lovely people that are wearing uniforms, I'm coming up behind you, honey, I'm going to kiss you on the head. These lovely people, and everybody that has served, my heart, my gratitude goes out to you. Because you volunteered to protect my freedom and my life. So I owe, so off to serve I go. Is zero trust going to stop? Where's Randy Resnick? Not just no, but hell no. Mark Gorak, are we going to start trying to educate and bring more people into the cyber community? Not just no, but hell no. Rob Wiedemeyer is going to be over the SWIFT program. Wittmeyer, sorry, I always say your name wrong. I want you to be like in a brew hall in Germany, somewhere like Wittmeyer. Rob is going to be over the SWIFT program. We are not stopping. We are not slowing down, not for a second. We have 2 of the greatest CIO and PCA team that has ever lived in Venus Goodwine and Wanda Jones-Heath. Oh, girl, please. If I could only be as bad as they are. But here's where I really need everybody to understand. I will break glass and crawl through it for you. Cannot whine, right? My mom lived by 3 principles. They were real simple, right? You only put down what you fear. If you're putting it down, ask yourself why. If you're putting down the CMMC, why are you putting it down? It's only an audit measure for you to do what you were contractually required by law to do since 2014, which is implement the NIST 171. So if you're putting it down, why? And oh, by the way, I mentioned this a few weeks ago. Everybody that puts on LinkedIn, their teammates, their employees put out there how hard it is. You don't think I'm keeping a list of who to go audit? Do you think that China isn't combing through LinkedIn and going, hey, Katie from blah, blah, blah company says it's too hard. They're not implementing it. They're an open target. Anybody here see a movie called Fight Club? What don't we talk about? Fight Club. What are we talking about? Fight Club. If you think the ATO process is cumbersome, you don't know what it's like until you've actually had to do the ATO process. And I swear to you, the way we look at an ATO, we're like, it weighs about 7 ounces or so. The paperwork looks good. It's an ATO. What I want is continuous monitoring. I want red teaming. I want people to continually evaluate. Why is all of this so critically important? Why? Because we need a culture of cybersecurity. We need a culture of zero trust. We need a culture of secure by design. The government has failed in the fact that we put up all these blithering policies and rules and do this and do that, and the world will be better and safer. The bottom line is if you just started off with the basis of this, I'll go back to the stage because it's hard to follow me because I'm short, I realize that. If we did the right things and built security in at the baseline, we wouldn't have to do this. But thank God for Al Gore and creating the internet. Lord knows we couldn't be anywhere without Al. But we did not have a culture. We are trying to create a culture. And what's the hardest thing about culture? Change. Change is hard. And I say, there's an interview of me somewhere on YouTube. I'm outside of a Trump rally, and somebody said, is a deep state real? And I'm like, yeah, it is. It's called the We Be community. We be here before you, we be here after you, and we be strong. Because they're so afraid of change. Remember I said, you'll put it down if you fear it. The number 2 thing my mother said to me, God rest your soul, is if you bring me a problem without a solution, you're whining, and I don't tolerate whiners. So if you have a solution on blowing up the RMF, or you have a solution that you think will make the CMMC better, or you have a thought about zero trust, come with the solution. Don't make a problem statement without a solution. You don't ever get anywhere in life with doing that. And I can't deal with people that opine over problems and tell me it's so hard. Yes, giving birth twice to children over 10 pounds in this body was hard. I lived through it. What was really hard, and this mentality has to communicate outward, is that young man on that boat on D-Day, when he was on the vessel, and he had 50 rounds of ammunition, it was cold, the water was cold, it was choppy, it was horrible weather. He didn't ask for a poem. He didn't ask for an extension. He didn't ask for an exemption. Because this job, defending this country and defending freedom, means something. So what did he do? He did the smartest thing anybody in D-Day did. They found the nearest Southerner and followed him up the beach because they know how to walk on sand. That is the determination you need. Because the men and women that fight for our country don't fight wars alone. They fight them with the defense industrial base. They fight them with cyber-accepted workforce. And I will tell you, the Pentagon and I may not agree on everything. I don't believe that investing as much as we do in kinetic is really all that beneficial. Because we're in a non-kinetic war. We're there, we're here. They're in our networks, they are in our supply chains, they are attacking our critical infrastructure. Salt Typhoon, Volt Typhoon, do you want me to continue on? We are at war in the cyber realm, in the non-kinetic realm. And if we are not doing our best job in the non-kinetic, then we must use kinetic in response. Does that make sense? I want more money into cyber. I want more money into AI, because the more that I get information and data and we actually learn how to use the data, that I can preserve life. That's what we're about, isn't it? We don't go to war because we want to, because it makes, we want to go kill people. We go to war because something is direly wrong with the human condition. And you live in the best country in the entire world, bar none, full stop. If you disagree with me, there's the door. And I mean this. Do you see a line of people waiting to get into China, breaking down borders? Do you see anyone dying to get into Russia or Iran or Afghanistan or North Korea? No. Hell, you don't even see people dying to get into Canada, even though Trump got elected. I know, only a few people got that. We have a moment in time, guys and gals, a moment. And we're not talking a long time. The midterms are coming. This inertia will slow down. We have to move, and we've got to be diligent. I know I've got a workforce of people that I get the privilege of working with every single day. They don't work for me, I work with them. I remember that I am appointed by the president to serve at the pleasure of for as long as, but I am an employee of the taxpayers. So I work for you. Everyone in this room, we work for each other. And we have to keep motivating each other and pushing each other to do better and to grow. And anytime you get an obstacle and put in front of you, your job is teamwork. One team, one fight. I sent an email to my staff before I came on stage today and, giving a list of things we need to get done. And I ended the email with one team, one fight, let's roll. And does anyone remember where let's roll comes from? Our country is at the precipice of massive, massive change. People that think that post-quantum computing is in 2035, I think you're dead wrong. I think the post-quantum encryption capability and post-quantum compute is nearer than people realize. I think that the way that we have been doing things in the past by just checking the box aren't sufficient. And that we have to motivate ourselves to do better. Because I don't know about you, but I refuse to learn Mandarin. I love this country. I love the opportunity that she creates, that you create. Because I'm not the smartest person in any given room. I thank my Lord and Savior every single morning for that. I never am the smartest person in the room. And I'm generally not the brightest with the ideas. I look at people like Mark Gorak, who has I would say, the hellacious job of trying to entice people to come on and work in the government in the cyber-accepted workforce. I look at people like Randy Resnick when they said, zero trust what? Yeah, we're not going to cut that budget and you're not going to get any more pilots. They didn't stop. When Rob, and I knew Rob back, but Rob, you were at DISA, weren't you? DISA. He's the chief software officer for the Department of Defense. When I came and said, let's do SWIFT, he didn't say, ma'am, there's policies, there's rules, there's regulations. He was like, slaps his hand, he's like, let's go, let's get her done. I can't tell you how many amazing individuals are out in this audience because there's too many for me to count right now. But I can tell you that the only thing that will bring us down, the only thing that will keep us from succeeding is in this room. And that is ourselves. The naysayers, oh, it's too hard, oh, it's not in policy, oh, it's not this way, it's not that way. This president has come in with an administration and said, things need to be different. I think we can all collectively agree things need to be different. But some of the biggest things that they have found in this presidency, in this administration, have been the lack of interoperability in systems, the lack of standards going from the top to the bottom, the lack of real requirements. And we get EOs change the acquisition completely. Does anyone remember Honorable McNamara when he was the Secretary of Defense? I do. He wrote our current acquisition law. He was in office in 1967 to 1970. I think it's time for change. I think that we need to come together and collectively think, how do I make a dynamic requirement for cyber that lives over 3 to 5 years of a contract? That's a question I don't have an answer to. Because what I start with today is not what I'm going to end with. You got to appreciate the SecDef coming in and saying, we need to use the software acquisition pathway. I love that because I co-authored the darn thing. I wrote the cyber portion of the adaptive acquisition framework because it should have been based on cybersecurity from day one. But we need to continue to push. And you don't need to just push in your company that you work at. You need to push your legislators. We are the people. We the people, anybody know that saying, where that comes from? Anybody? The SecDef has it tattooed on his arm. We the people make the laws and the rules. We elect people to do it. I really wish you'd pick up the phone and call your legislators and say, hey, you know what? The DoD really needs to have a 3-year budget, and we really need to have colorless money. Because you are the taxpayer. It's your money. Thank you. Somebody's hearing me. We need to take and embrace change because it demands it. The culture needs it. And I'm not doing this to get rich. As you can see, I'm bougie. This is not fake. He did buy it at a pawn shop, though, I ain't gonna lie. We had blood diamonds, now we have blood minerals. It's a whole thing. I could go on for days. But we have this opportunity. And it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Don't squander it. Don't squander it arguing, well, I think it should be this way or that way. I will tell you that there has been more teamwork and more motivation in the Department of Defense with the leadership team, the CIOs, that I have ever seen. And I have been around this industry for well over 20 years. I have a lot of Botox, I don't look like it. But they have been amazing. When I asked Venus, what can we do to break RMF? She's like, oh, I've already done that. I've automated it too, by the way, and here's how I'm doing it, and I'm showing you in Advana. When Wanda Jones-Heath, I come and say, what are we changing in policy? She's like, oh, we're on it. I'm not concerned that there aren't enough good ideas. My concern is you won't have the dedication to follow them through. And like all good things, right? If people start using it, it dies. And if you don't believe in it, and there's another thing my mother would say, and this is the final and third. If you want something, you will make it happen. Otherwise, you will make an excuse. Think about that. The priorities in your life, if you want them, you make a way to make it happen. If it's something that annoys you and you don't, you make an excuse. Don't make an excuse on this. And it's not, which I love when people say this, oh, that's the DOD. What is the DOD, folks? In the Constitution, it started off with the Navy. We'll give them that credit. We've got to love those guys first. But the reality was, the Department of Defense is your Department of Defense. I'm over spectrum. Do you know what that, does anyone know what that means, I'm over spectrum? Raise your hand if you do. What does it mean? What he just said is absolutely true. I'm in charge of the spectrum. So who knows what lives in megahertz 3.1 to 3.45? Raise your hand. Do you know what lives in that zone? Everything that Golden Dome is or will be. Your radar systems, the Tippy-2, Patriot, all of that. You know what lives in 7 and 8? Celestial satellites. I'm over that. Who knew? These are the things we have to protect for a nation, to keep secure. Golden Dome isn't going to happen by just a few people sitting in a room. It's a whole of effort. And we, like I said, when we go in to fight a war, we don't fight it alone. We fight it with the DIB. Getting the CMMC and that culture of cybersecurity, that you have a culture of cybersecurity, or you have a culture of zero trust, or you have a culture of secure by design. It's not because we want to, gig you or make your life harder. It's because that man or woman sitting in the battlefield, generally overseas, is banking on that non-kinetic capability of the weapon system or platform working. Because if it doesn't, they die. And I have firsthand knowledge of this. In the Signal article that came out, I shared something very personal about myself. In May 24, 2007, my first husband, I'm on my third. No, he didn't die. He is one of my best friends. I was married to him for 16 years. We lived together 432 days in 16 years. Can I explain to you why my marriage did not work out? The military does not exactly love family. But on May 24, 2007, and as I know many of you in this room can relate to this, he is 5'6". He was sitting in a Humvee in a turret. 11 Bravo, he was training the Iraqi police force, and on their off days, they were doing perimeter tours. And they were a perimeter tour, and everybody knows that in a Humvee, if you're an 11 Bravo, a grunt, and enlisted, they don't design them right the way you need them. So you rip things around and you move them to make them workable for you. And they moved the squawk box. So as they were driving, he saw a storm drain cover that wasn't on right, and he yelled halt, and no one heard him. And he was blown out of the turret from the force of the IED, while his team, most of them died instantly, caught on fire. How many of you have lost someone to a technical glitch? And what's human life worth? Is it worth pushing yourself? Is it worth coming up with new ideas and being bold enough to say, I have an idea? Is it worth risking and saying to your supervisor, there might be a better way? I believe it is. I think that's what our country was founded on. I know that's why I'm here. I have 4 grandchildren, 2 8 and 2 7s. My daughter, both daughters had Irish twins in a competition. My life is preset. I'm 54 years old. I know what I'm going to be doing for the next few months of my life or years. But I'm more concerned about what I'm going to turn over to them. And are you concerned about that? And everything that seems hard, right? The only thing I'll leave you this, because I'll open it up for questions. Have you ever had anything in your life that was valuable that didn't come with a cost? Anything. See, the value that you gain from it is the journey or the work or what you had to do to obtain that. Anybody here married for 50 years or more? Raise your hand. Wow. All right, 30 years. Give me hope. Okay. Amen. Is it easy? Is it hard work? But the perseverance and the dedication to say, do you remember when? That says something. So every day you get up and you go to work, don't sit down at the terminal and think, oh, I'm just doing a job. You're saving someone's life. And not just our country. Remember, around the world, we are the beacon on the hill. China isn't that good at innovation. They're really good at stealing IP. They're really good at building on our innovation. Anybody know what happened with the F-35? What took off about 6 months after the F-35 that had the exact same canopy flaw as the original design of the F-35? What? The J-20. They didn't get good on their own. They got good on your tax dollars. They got good on your R&D. They got good on the blood of your men and women on the battlefield. Are you willing to let them do that anymore? Be loud, people. So do your damn jobs. And don't whine about it. You're getting well paid. We've got jobs. There's roofs over our heads. We live in the greatest country in the world. Fight for her. Do what's right by her. And if that means you tell your boss, I don't agree, this could be different, then do so. But sitting back and letting bad things happen because that's just the way the cookie crumbles is not what our founding fathers did. That's not what those people that stormed the beaches in Normandy did. And you know what those guys and the ladies in Pearl Harbor didn't do? You know what they didn't do? They didn't run away. They didn't say this is too hard. Boats were burning, people were dying, and what were the men and the women doing? Running to the problem. And what do we seem to be doing now in our world, our culture? We walk away from it. We have to run to the problem. We have to be so excited to get there and solve it every single day. Because if not you, then who? And I'm going to go there because I'm Katie Arrington, and what are you going to do? You were made for such a time as this. God does not make mistakes. You were born into this country. You were put with the education. You were put with the drive. You were given a purpose to be in this room right now at this point in time. Through all of history, do you all realize how mind-blowing that is every day? That all of the different experiences that you have had in your life have brought you to this room today to sit next to that person. How crazy unique is this world? And it wasn't by mistake. You didn't just, oh, I showed up. You worked your butts off to get here. You put the time into education. You put the time into training. You put the time into mission. Don't let it go to waste because the policies and the bureaucracies. Remember why you came. And I'll remember why I showed up. And together we'll solve some problems. And will there be more to solve? Absolutely. There will never be a day when it is enough. And Randy, I love you, but zero trust is never going to be something you're 100% at. Networks change. Why is an ATO stupid? Because tell me what's going to be different in your network tomorrow or that software configuration. Frickin' everything. That's why we want to move on from this. So all good ideas are welcome. You're all brilliant. You're all unique. You're all special. And you're all part of my team. One team, one fight. So let's roll. Questions? Oh, applause.
Thank you. We've had a couple of questions come in on email. First up, with cybersecurity and interoperability being a common theme around the DoD, and the DoD having strict requirements in place to ensure products and systems are secure and interoperable, how do you plan to ensure that what the services are buying meets those standards if the DoD APL program is proposed to be sunset?
Okay, that was a really long question. All right, I heard some of it, and was that God? So the DoD APL program, well, can you put it up here so I can read it? So I didn't get the question. Yeah, we make requirements. Yes, it is up to the CIO and the service and me to make the requirements. And our jobs, we haven't really done a great job of it. If you can't tell, their interoperability has been a problem. We're getting stricter. I can have you talk to Venus about what she's done to collapse business systems in the Air Force and how that has worked. But I didn't hear the rest of the question, so I'm sorry.
It's, how do you plan to ensure what the services are buying meets the strict requirements in place to ensure that products and systems are secure and interoperable?
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well, so first we're doing trust but verify, right? So the approved products list. Oh, now I get it. Yeah, we're sunning that down. That ended up becoming a big pay-to-play thing. DISA's still doing it. They're not stopping. We're just not going to have people sponsor it. Simple. We've got requirements. You meet them. We trust you to some degree. And we certify. Roger Greenway is not going away, and that office isn't going away. We're just not going to have an approved products list because it just got to be, in all honesty, too many people were paying. If you paid enough money, you got audited first. So instead, we've got the SWIFT program. The SWIFT program will roll over into an HBOM program as well. Trust but verify. There's enough third-party auditors and third-party certifications that you can gain that we don't need to have a APL. And plus, that's static anyway, right? You meet the requirement that day. I'm more worried about continuous monitoring. I'm more worried about red teaming than I am about an approved products list. Another question? Oh, come on, guys. You have I'm pretending to be the CIO. You got to ask a question.
This is another long one. Obviously, right now, the nose is to the grindstone with getting the DIB up to speed with CMMC. As you imagine the future of the course that it sets us on, what would you like to see be some big picture priorities in a post-CMMC DIB?
Actually, people doing the NIST 171 would be epic. That would be epic. As I started many, many years ago when I started this journey, I said to you guys from the very beginning that capability, innovation would become the leader. And the cost of driving down the audits is paramount. I think there's a lot of entities out there doing that right now, driving down the cost of the audit. That is key. We have tools and capability, which I knew once we put the demand signal out, industry would meet, and they are. So the NIST 171 is something that we don't, you guys realize why we do it, right? And I'll say this, and if they fire me, they fire me. I think CUI is the most complex, misunderstood thing ever. Why do I think that every company in the DIB should do the NIST 171, those 110 controls? Because CUI, if you look at it as a program, it's by a program, it makes no sense. CUI has always been the compilation of the data on the network. That's what the adversary's after. So when I started this journey, you remember CMMC in Katie Land had 5 steps. One was equal to the FAR 17 or FAR 12, which is it, 12 or 17? It It was the 17 controls for basic cybersecurity. Level 2 was to help the small and medium-sized businesses how to resource to get to level 3, which was the full instantiation of the NIST 171. Because it does take resource and planning. It does take, am I going to do this organically or am I going to hire it out? But right now, if you want to be in the defense industrial base, few things on the CMMC. Number one, if you didn't build it into your rate because you weren't doing it, shame on you. I can't tell you how to run your business, but shame on you. You missed out. Why do you think that there are so many false claims acts happening right now? How many do we see? I know we just saw 3 in the past week. But when the government said to you, to be compliant, you must do the NIST 171, and so many of you checked the box, and then you wrote a poem and you said, I'd get to it. I can't tell you how to build your rates. You should have built your rates based on the requirement that the government gave to you. And if you had a poem, you should have resourced in your rates how to get to that poem. So talking to me about how hard it is after the law went into effect in 2014, do you all realize that? The NIST 171 was law since 2014, and we are still complaining it's too hard in 2025, while we were losing on average $250 million a day in the defense industrial base due to IP theft, ransomware, malware, phishing schemas, and straight up R&D theft. And you guys are complaining? Build your rates. And if you're worried about lowest price technically acceptable, right? That is a 4-letter word in the DoD we are not in love with. We have learned our lessons. I'm known as Mean Mommy. My love hurts. There's a support group on Tuesdays and Thursdays if anybody wants to join. Any other questions?
We have time for one more.
Okay.
What's the most important leadership lesson you've learned from driving cybersecurity reform at the national level?
That's a good darn question. Everyone has a superpower. I am not the most technical person. I'm not the smartest person. I'm horrible at grammar. I'm horrible at spelling. And by the way, I'm horrible at math. But I was given one really, really, really good superpower. That I can see how each individual member of my teams that I get to work with every single day, the unique superpower that they have, and enabling those people to excel at what they do, it's easy to lead when you let people around you excel. That, when Stacy Bosjenic, everybody knows the story of what happened to me. It's not a secret. Stacy I knew the team that I had. The best leadership quality is that you create an organization that in your absence functions flawlessly. And I walked out of the building with no warning, and Stacy Bosjenic and Buddy Dees and Carrie Cardwell and Diane Knight and Dawn Greenway, no one missed a beat. That's leadership. That's leadership. And I will say to any one of you that is a CEO or you're working in an organization or you're a leader in the military, if you have to go and there's problems, you leave your office and your office is calling you 50 times a day, you need to look at your leadership skills. Because the best leaders create teams that function flawlessly without them. And I'm going to leave you this one little bit of advice, and I know I'm over time, but I'm going to do it anyway. No one should ever stay in a career position any longer than 5 years. And here's what I would tell you. Year 1 in a job, you figure out what you do and what you want, what it is you do. Year 2, you figure out what would you do and make it better. Now, year 2, you start looking around at the people who are working with you, and you start saying to yourself, we need to make some changes. In 3, you make those changes. In year 4, you start looking for your replacement. In 5, you look for where you need to go. Any longer than that, you've lost that spark, that fire. It does the soul good to change. Now, changing husbands in office I don't agree. I don't recommend to everybody. That was a personal choice, but I will say I ran for office so many times. I always had my ex-husbands donate and stump for me, so I can't say too much about that they remain friends. But I will tell you this, my last parting statement is that I am so honored and privileged to work with you in the trenches on this very hard issue, because it's hard to get people to believe in cybersecurity when they can't touch it, they can't taste it, and they can't feel it. And my gosh, what a group of warriors you are. You're the first line of defense. You are the thing that saves lives. Golden Dome only works, and Iron Dome in Israel is effective because of the non-kinetic capability that then puts a kinetic action out to save lives. Think about that. You're the non-kinetic warrior. And I thank you so much for allowing me to work amongst you. Even though I'm not the smartest, I'm not the most technical, I have horrible grammar, I can't spell, and I can't add. I literally sit at a tab at a bar and I go 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, that's how much tip you use. AFCEA, I thank you so much for holding this event. I thank you for always being there. I've been an AFCEA fan for 25 years, a donor, member. For those of you in uniform, thank you. Thank you during COVID for not walking away. Thank you for COVID for sticking it in. Thank you through all the stuff we've put your families through for sticking it in. And for all of you that have served in the past, thank you for all the same reasons. And the civilians in here, thank you, because you could go to the commercial sector in other areas and make a hell of a lot more money with a lot less headache. But this country's worth defending, and each one of you are worth defending. With that, may God bless you all. One team, one fight, and let's roll.
Thank you, Ms. Arrington. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Susan Lawrence back to the stage.
We've lost control. Ms. Arrington, thank you again for being with us. We really appreciate it. And in lieu of a speaker's gift, we are going to donate to Fisher House. So very quickly, go to the floor. And next, we're going to be setting up for our panel, Cyber Readiness 2025 and Beyond, Innovating, Integrating, and Empowering, which will begin at 2:30. And guys, that's all I can get to. Enjoy.